people are draining their bank accounts. They're just kind of saying goodbye. And sometimes it's la la land. And la la land is a great place to be if you're escaping from something. But I think we have to figure out what it is that everybody wants to escape from.
Welcome to Girls Gone Gritty. I'm Farley Boyle, girl mom.
And I'm Jennifer Brenius, boy mom.
Together, we're Team Boyle-Renius. Each other's ride
or die. This is where grit gets real. We don't just talk, we do it.
We're here for the messy stories, the hard-fought lessons, and the courage it takes to keep showing up.
Especially when it's uncomfortable. We bring gratitude and attitude to everything we do.
We jump in head first, unafraid, and are all in all the time.
We bring it on and get it on, diving into unscripted conversations on just about everything.
We don't just talk grit, we live it.
We put the it in grit.
So let's get gritty!
Welcome to another episode of Girls Gone Gritty. It is Thursday, June 4th, and it's a special day in my household and across the world because many people share birthdays. My son is turning 17 today, and he is getting his license.
That is very exciting.
My last boy getting his driver's license. There's nothing more empowering than getting behind the wheel of a car, and he has been so excited and patient because he's a young junior. He's the last one, not only of our household, but of his friend group to get a license.
And it's my nephew's birthday, and he's also 17 today and looking for a car. I have a lot of Geminis under my roof. I'm looking forward to Mackenzie Boyle coming back from Australia. Her birthday is June 7th. My daughter Chase's birthday is June 10th. So yes, it's a great month.
Birthdays and graduations and Father's Day coming up. So there's lots of things that we can celebrate.
We'll be celebrating next weekend at the Parker House.
Crazy live. Did you see the insanity that happened there over Memorial Day weekend?
Oh, yeah.
Because of social media and the influence that social media has on these spots that have been famous, but have now been blown up.
Well, when you show pictures of Jack Hughes there with Tate McRae, it's going to bring the masses. And Alex Earl popping in. Thankfully, I have a Parker House card. Our family is lucky enough to have that magic card that looks like a credit card made out of metal, and it allows me to get in +1.
And I like being Farley's +1. I'm not her +1 alone, so it's a good thing. We are always trying to escape something somewhere, but we're going to get to that in a little bit. I think we have some interesting top threes.
We sure do. Number 3, Blue Origin's race to space blows up in Amazon's face.
Everyone knows that Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk are in this space race to dominate global travel. They had a huge rocket called Blue Origin that blew up last week, and it was a big deal because he's already behind Elon in a lot of ways.
You that have had the privilege of having instant Wi-Fi as soon as you get onto a United flight. I don't know where Starlink is offered. I think you can actually purchase it in your own home.
Well, they're promoting it as a global solution to internet. That's the whole premise behind it, is that no matter where you are on the planet, you should be able to have internet and Wi-Fi. And that's what he's building with these satellites all over the planet. And right now, he's not in a place where it's connectivity everywhere on Earth. But that's
so Bezos is trying
to capture that market, of course, because he wants everybody to be able to Amazon everything to their front door.
Of course.
And the only way you can do that is to get on Wi-Fi.
Right.
Only way you can do that is to have connection. We'll post
the universe has spoken with that rocket blowing up, maybe.
I think it's crazy. And we're going to post a picture from 2019. And according to estimates, it's gone up fourfold. And I'm going to try and find a current photo of it. Of satellites that are encompassing the low orbit is insanity. If you've seen the movie WALL-E, which I reference all the time, it's literally WALL-E status.
It looks like 100 million fireflies outside of the hemisphere of the world from space.
Yeah.
It's wild.
Oh, and if you live near Cape Canaveral and any of the debris washes up on shore, do not touch it.
Radioactive?
It's radioactive. This explosion created debris. It's all over the place. So anything that you're not sure, don't touch it at the beach. It's not
a treasure. Not a treasure. Okay, number 2, Rotten Tomatoes. We are not the leading producer of tomatoes. Mexico is, and prices are soaring in the northbound of 40%.
To be honest, I need to pay more attention because I'm a tomato lover. I grew up with Jersey tomatoes, and I think they're the best. I didn't realize we weren't the leading producer here in the state.
I grew up in Florida and had a fresh produce market, and we pulled them in from Ellington, Palmetto, and Ruskin. So I thought the U.S. produced the majority of our tomatoes.
Yeah. Part of the issue has been the tariffs and the trade war with Mexico, and those prices have gone up. And I guess we don't have the infrastructure yet to produce the volumes of tomatoes that we know and love, because tomatoes are in everything.
I know we import Roma tomatoes and delicious tomatoes from Italy for our sauces. And it would make sense that we import tomatoes from Mexico for our salsa.
Recognizing that the prices have ticked up, I didn't recognize that.
Is our ketchup more expensive? Is tomato sauce and cans more expensive?
Obviously, the price of gas is factored into everything. So part of the war,
inflation,
and the oil and all of it. But I'm not aware that I was paying 40% more. So I need to be paying attention to what my grocery bill is. I know it's a lot, but I do have full. So
I agreed. Number one, I'm excited about this. Disclosure Day takes us back to the movies. Thanks, Steven Spielberg. We can't wait for June 12th.
Okay, so we talked about this. Our nostalgia is up. We've always like reminisced about how fun it was, and I remember going to the movies as a kid and watching things like E.T.
Oh yeah,
The Temple of
Close
Doom,
Encounters of the First Kind.
Yes, I mean he has so many
AI,
I think,
artificial intelligence came out in 2001 by Spielberg.
Well, this is a new movie about aliens.
Yeah.
That they have it cover up. It feels very close to home with what we're talking about with the aliens and the release of these files that have been in the coffers of the Pentagon and NASA for decades, they say. But going and seeing a movie and being disconnected and not being on your device while you're sitting there
falling asleep on your couch. It's a reason to go do something with whoever you're inviting to go with you. It can be a family affair, girls' night out. It can be a date. I love a date night where you went to the movies with your boyfriend and got excited about your legs touching in a seat. Maybe it was your first date, or holding hands, or having him put his arm around you. It's a wonderful tradition that's been lost. And we are going to this movie in person.
Yes, and you're invited. We'd like to invite you. June 12th is the release date. And if you're interested in going, we're going to figure out a time and a place that we're going to go. We're going to put it
for Monmouth County listeners.
Yes. And even if you don't live in Monmouth County,
anyone,
you go and then we share our experience on this movie.
Let's take it back to the movie theaters. Let's go back in time and do some quality things together that get you out of the house and you have an experience.
Yeah. And it's, again, that leads us to our episode. Going to the movies is a bit of escapism because you're taken out of your current life and you get to be someplace else. It transports you to another place, space, and time. And that's what movies can do for us. So escapism is what we're going to talk about today. The escapism that is happening in our social media presence and looking at these influencers that are taking themselves to places across the globe and sitting in your living room and thinking, my God, it would be so great to give up my life today and go do that. Can I go be an influencer? And what's that impact have on your day-to-day life?
I have a child that's doing that. However, she was motivated to get a job at the same time. So she was not ready to get into the grind of life right after graduation because there's expectations about you graduate and you've got to have a job. She was offered a job, but she didn't want to take that job because it involved a reverse commute and it was living in New York City and going to Connecticut. And she had a COVID year her freshman year. She blew out her ACL her senior year, and she just wasn't ready. And I listened to her and allowed her to have an experience that you couldn't put a price tag on. Now, as far as influencing is concerned, she's somebody that has a great eye and can make you want to be where she is or make you want to do what she's doing. That's just her gift. She's the person that's jumping out of an airplane. She's hiking around the mouth of a volcano. She's doing crazy things and capturing it perfectly, but she was self-sustaining herself financially, which allowed her to do all of these things. We see so many people that want this dream, and for some people, it's not reality. They might sell everything they have to buy a van that they can get pimped out to go across country, and they're going to document it. And people are draining their bank accounts. They're just kind of saying goodbye. And sometimes it's La La Land. And La La Land is a great place to be if you're escaping from something. But I think we have to figure out what it is that everybody wants to escape from.
I look at it where you recognize that you're getting on a hamster wheel once you've accepted this type of existence that we live in. Once you've accepted the fact that you raise children, you get your children to a place where they sustain themselves and they go get a job and then they raise the children. And it does feel like it's a copy of what was replicated before. And because of the window of social media and the influencer eye, people can see the fact that you don't have to live in a specific way in which we did. You don't have to get up and have a 9 to 5 job. That's gone out the window. People are working different hours on different time zones and working virtually.
They're not sitting at a desk anymore. They're standing. It's true. And COVID gave us that remote option. And I feel like that remote option has really intensified, because if you can work remotely, why would you choose to be in your apartment? If you could choose to be wherever Wi-Fi allows it, there's a lot of people taking their show on the road and working and seeing the world while they're doing it. And I applaud that.
Sure, sure. And also with COVID, there were kids that were really smart that they recognized in the Northeast when it was closed off that they're going to go get an apartment someplace else, and they can still go online to some of these schools in the Northeast and the Midwest that were completely closed and virtual and have a life, because not only were the schools closed, but everything was closed.
Yeah.
So it was a way of life that opened up to them. And I think that's part of what's happened with this escapism movement, where the work-life balance has gotten to be a bit more balanced in your day-to-day, where I can take a work call intersected with a personal call, going out for a run in the middle of my day and have that all work. I do think that reduces the need for escapism for a lot of people. But I also think that a lot of people have decided, I don't need to get on a ferry and go into New York City, or a train, or get in a car and spend 2 hours on my commute. I'm going to maximize my time, but my escape is going to be that escape.
Well, some people are escaping from work altogether, though. The work ethic of America is declining, and they're looking for a get-rich-quick scam, or a way that you can make money really quickly. And unfortunately, the majority of the time, you got to roll up your sleeves and you've got to work, truly work. And I just don't see the work ethic happening in this younger generation the way it was impressed upon us, even from having a job. As soon as I was able to babysit, have a newspaper route, whatever it was, you knew that you had to contribute. You knew you had to make money. I had to make my spending money. So I was going to work so that I had spending money. Kids these days, a lot of times, graduate from college without having a job, especially if you're an athlete, because it's hard. You're training, you're playing club, you're all over the place during the summers. Then you go to college, and maybe you come home and you secure a job over the summer. But a lot of times when you're putting your resume together for the first time coming out of college, you don't have a lot of things to add there.
Yeah, I think that it's multiplied, not only that people see the influencers and think they're making this boatload of money. And from the stats, it's again the bell curve. There's a small percentage of people that are really killing it financially.
Yep.
And there's a whole bunch of people in the middle that are trying to get the influencer piece, but it's smoke and mirrors, where their life looks fantastic.
They're putting everything on a platform that you consume, and it looks really pretty, but they might not make a dime, or they're just pulling in product but not getting money behind that product.
But when I was working for the Wave, we did things with influencers, and this is going back 10 years ago. The influencers would come and they would have all expenses paid, but not be paid anything. So it's great if you want to live a lifestyle of being able to go and see things, but you may not have a dollar in your bank account at the end of the day. So if that dries up, where's your safety net, I guess, is the real question. And that's the part about escapism that is interesting for the people that are on the opposite side of that, where you have the 9 to 5 job, you've got some money in the bank account, you're on that hamster wheel that I talked about. And it's like, wait, what am I doing? And this is what happens with a lot of people in midlife crises, where they've been doing the right things all their life. And they're like, I want to get the heck out of here. I'm going to go park it on a beach and go be a surf instructor, which would be my husband's choice. He wants to open an Airbnb, and I can teach yoga and he can be a surf instructor someplace, and we'll wash our face with the money that we have. And
sounds like a nice quality of life to me.
And there is nothing wrong with that, except for the fact that you give up living where your kids live. It's a very challenging thing to do when you want the life that your parents have. My parents come to all my kids' games, and they're present for holidays and vacations and things like that.
There's all kinds of escapism. You look at AI and the fact that you can do these virtual reality type experiences that take you out of your mind frame, and you can even write the story that you want to lead and become the main character in some of these AI programs. And then you've got gamers that completely eliminate the outside world, and they're living in a fantasy, or they're conquering worlds and they're the hero. There's several different forms of escapism. It's not just packing up and trying to go be an influencer.
Which reminds me of, if you haven't seen another Spielberg movie, Ready Player One is exactly that. It's a crazy movie that takes you as a gamer into this virtual world where you can create whatever you want. I'm not going to spoil it. You need to watch that one because it's exactly that. And in today's modern society of pressure and feeling like you need to keep up and feeling like you get to see how fabulous everybody else's life is, imagining yourself outside of the world that you live in sounds fantastic. There are days when I feel like I wake up and it's Groundhog Day and it would be great to get on an airplane all by myself and go to like a remote island, not know anybody, and just disappear for a little while. And I think that's not unique to me. I think a lot of people can wake up feeling that way. And I think that's okay. There are people that all of a sudden,
Pack it up.
dad or mom decide, I don't want this life anymore. Peace out, people. I'm out.
I'm going to read the definition of escapism. It's the psychological tendency to distract oneself from the stress, boredom, or unpleasant realities of daily life through imagination, entertainment, or altered states of mind. It acts as a mental break, but the effects depend heavily on how it is practiced. So there's healthy escapism, and then there's unhealthy escapism. Healthy escapism, an example, could be reading a book, exercising, journaling, playing a video game, watching a movie, as we just said. And the benefits of that are lowering your cortisol, it sparks creativity, and it provides necessary perspectives. Unhealthy escapism examples are compulsive social media scrolling, chronic overworking, substance abuse, or excessive gambling. And the consequences, it could create financial problems, worsen anxiety, and damage relationships. So there's a healthy balance. What Jen's saying, go to an island, teach yoga and surf is an example of a healthy quality of life. Whereas other unrealistic examples of escaping can drain the bank account and leave you left with less than you began with, which if it's experiences, let's say you drained your bank account to travel and have that experience, amazing. But you have to come back to reality at some point.
You do. And I think that it's great to imagine yourself someplace else and how much better things could be. But sometimes the most simple things are what we all need. And I think that's part of what escapism is that sometimes bigger is what we're imagining is better in our daily life.
The grass is
And
greener.
what we need is simplicity of life, being with family and friends, and maximizing your time. And when this escapism simmers up in me, I'm not getting enough of that good stuff. Escapism is my release.
Well, they say unhealthy escapism occurs when distractions turn into avoidance. So when you use the activity to permanently dodge problems instead of resolving them, that's when it becomes a problem.
Yeah.
So you're running away from something. You don't want to face the truth. You want to pretend it doesn't exist. And that's the type of escapism that's happening more often these days.
So I think that the escapism that you mentioned, all those unhealthy ones, are just so much more accessible. We had an episode on it. Gambling, gaming online. Back in the day, you would have to physically go to Atlantic City or find a place where you could gamble. And now it's at the touch of your finger.
Right. The only way to escape is to go out into the wild and have absolutely no contact with technology and unplug.
Yeah. You need a full reset. And the tech piece is enabling some of the things that are your negative escapisms to continue, like social media scroll. Like but that while you're trying to reset and restore on an escape trip.
There's a fine line between escapism and being lonely or having depression. And that's going to be our next episode. We're going to dive headfirst into the difference and how to recognize when they become problematic. You can escape because you're lonely. People escape because they don't have somebody or they've retreated from reality on some level. And now the reentry is very hard. Some people don't recognize that they have social problems, and that becomes an issue. We're going to bring on a therapist that is going to help us recognize when it's a problem.
The reality is that loneliness, it's an epidemic curated out of two events that we talk about all the time. COVID cannot be underestimated as the impact that it had on a lot of people developing social skills. And the technology piece that got amplified because of COVID only exacerbated that issue.
Which makes me think it was created. The more I think about it, the fallout is hitting everybody with shrapnel, whether you recognize it or not.
So it's an important topic, and I'm excited that we're going to have Dr. Sofer on for that episode. She's a tremendous resource and a fountain of knowledge. She's on the board of Fordham, and her resume is impeccable.
And that is going to bring us to a very important Got Grit Award recipient.
Getting jiggy with it.
It is a person that's anonymous, and it's also a place that has become a safe zone for people. There was a cashier at a grocery store, and she works the night shift, and her night shift is anywhere from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. And around 3 a.m., she would see insomniacs, night workers, and people that are avoiding empty homes. And she started recognizing the same people coming in at these odd hours because they didn't want to be seen or because that's the time that they're alive for whatever reason. She had a guy that bought $17.23 worth of groceries. He paid with a $20 bill. When she handed him the receipt, he stared at it for a minute and looked at the cashier and said, "Can I ask you something weird?" And she said, "Sure." He said, "Can you write something on this receipt? Anything. Just something a human wrote to another human." She's like what? And he said, "Anything. Your name, the weather, a smiley face." He's like, "I don't care. I just need proof that someone saw me today." He said, it's so matter-of-factly, like it was a normal request. The cashier grabbed a pen, wrote on his receipt, "I hope you had a good night." And then he folded it carefully, put it in his wallet, and said, "Thank you. You're the first person who has said anything to me in 6 days." And they left. An idea triggered in her, and she started thinking, all these people have a story, and there's a reason that these are my regulars. So she started a little simple word, a smiley face, something positive. She wrote on every single person's receipt. And the collection of stories that have evolved from this gesture, one woman said that she was about to commit suicide. And the day that she read the receipt, it gives me the chills. She had written, "I see you." And so the girl put it on her refrigerator. And then she went back to the store the next day and got another receipt. Believe in yourself. So these messages of kindness ended up saving this woman's life. She took a picture of her refrigerator. She had 16 receipts with beautiful messages. And she said to the cashier, "I just want you to know that you're responsible for saving my life." So that's just 2 stories. And that collection of misfit toys, whatever you want to call those people, they all started having a commonality. The sales clerk was making them feel alive and recognizing that they were alive and giving them validation in a way that they needed it. All of a sudden, her boss started seeing that at 3 a.m., the store was hustling and bustling. And he's like, "What's going on?" And she shared the story with him, thinking that she might get in trouble. Instead, he put a park bench out in front of the store that says the 3 a.m. crew. And all these 3 a.m. regulars started talking to one another. And then they would invite a friend that needed to be uplifted or to feel like they belonged. And that bench was filled. And that initiative shows all of us that a little bit of kindness can go such a long way. And if we all did a random act of kindness every single day, we would be in a much better place.
Oh, I love that. The pay it forward ideology is all that we want to do. We want to leave someplace better than we found it. We want to be seen. We want to be heard. We want to feel connection. We want to feel community. And when you're somebody who's feels none of those things, it can be a tragic, lonely place. So it's wonderful that initiative. And Starbucks is trying to do that with the little things they write on the side of their cups. And when people take it, like some of them just write enjoy, that's sweet. But some of them would be like, "Have a fabulous day."
Right.
It takes an extra 2 seconds, but there's somebody who needs that message that day. You never know what somebody's going through.
Exactly.
Somebody can look like they have the most perfect life,
Totally.
getting out of the most perfect house, the most perfect car, the most perfect family, all of it. And you have no idea what they're going through. So reach out to somebody that you think might be lonely today. So having that under our belt, and thank you so much, Farley, for that beautiful story, I'm going to take us to our lyric. On and on, the rain will fall, like tears from a star, like tears from a star. On and on, the rain will say, how fragile we are, how fragile we are. On and on, the rain will fall, like tears from a star, how fragile we are. If blood will flow from flesh and steel are one, drying in the color of the evening sun. Tomorrow's rain will wash the stains away, but something in our minds, they will always stay. Perhaps this is the final act that was meant to cinch a lifetime's argument, that nothing comes from violence, nothing ever could. For all those born beneath an angry star, lest we forget how fragile we are.
That's bad. I have no idea. I'm sure I know the song too.
Well, it's an older Sting song, Fragile,
Fragile.
and how fragile we are and how much we need each other and how sometimes circumstances are difficult and we want to escape, but we have each other and it's all that matters.
He is such a
He's
lyricist.
unbelievable. I love everything he does. So we'll add that one to our playlist. And if you haven't listened to our playlist, it's a great, uplifting, insightful, anytime playlist that you can get on Spotify.
And you know what? We all are fragile at some point. And that's when a random act of kindness could change fragility into strength.
We hope that you are connecting with somebody who needs it, escaping if you need to with something that's positive, putting the Steven Spielberg movie on Disclosure Day on June 12th on your calendar, and maybe we'll see you in the movie theaters.
Escape outdoors. See you Thursday.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Girls Gone Gritty.
Visit us on Instagram, Facebook, and now TikTok.
If this episode hits home, share it with someone who needs to get gritty.
Own it and put the it in grit.
See you next episode.